Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good Friday morning. Okay, we're going to take a break from squatting. We're going to take a break from the invasion at our border.
Oh, Amy, we can't send them to Duckworth and senators, all the senators' houses.
What do you
You want to change? Yeah, from was it the turnkey.pro answer text line, right?
Yeah, speak up. I can't hear you.
I'm speaking right into the mic. It said, here's how to change squatter laws. Direct them to take up residence in homes of senators and representatives while they're away in D.C. Then watch how quickly Durbin, Duckworth, Quigley, Caston, and company will change their minds.
Yeah. That's interesting, unless you're someone like Congressman Chuy Garcia, who has his gang-banging son still living in his house. Oh, did I say it? Yes, I did.
Be careful.
No? Oh, yeah. Oh, you think they're going to come after me?
You're
they
not
already
suicidal.
took my Twitter, so
yeah.
bring it. Come on. What else do you have? Okay. So, conservative case for remote work. See this building we're in?
Yeah.
This used to be a thriving mecca here. We had tenants on every floor, all 6 floors. There was close to 800 people. We had a deli downstairs that was open. I loved that place. If you wanted to get it like the nice, fresh
breakfast?
omelet. Oh, they had great breakfast.
I was so
That's
hungry
gone
this morning.
Yeah. So now we have about 200 people in this building because of COVID.
Yeah.
And because people went to remote working. And they never came back, John.
Yeah.
Because some businesses realized we don't need brick and mortar places, and we'll save money and save insurance costs and yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
But what about the culture of the cooler talk? With more on that, let's welcome to the program Frank DeVito. He's counsel at the Napa Legal Institute. His writings have been published in the American Conservative, the Federalist, and First Things Online. Good morning, Mr. DeVito. How are you?
Amy, I'm doing well. Thanks so much for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. So what is the conservative case for remote work?
Yes, I love how you framed the issue because then you make me make my case. So this is great. So, one of the things you said that I think gets to my point is, what about the office culture, right? What about the cooler talk? And there's a need for that. This is a legitimate question, but I think I would back up a little bit. When we're talking about where's the culture, I would say that this is the idea of the office culture as kind of a communal, social center of working people's lives. I think it's an extremely modern thing, and I think that we've lost the greater sense of where we've gone because of that, right? So in the piece that I wrote at the Public Discourse, I argue that really before the Industrial Revolution, most economies were home-based economies, right? Like it wasn't just, after the Industrial Revolution, women left the home and went to work. Men left the home and went to work. Yeah, this was, obviously you had towns, people in property had to go into town or travel for work. But the norm was that most people work from home, which can kind of sound anachronistic, but it's not. So obviously times are different, industries different. There are certainly jobs where you need to work in an office, in a place, right? But
right.
I think that with the emergence of remote work, especially for like what I call the laptop class, people like me who can actually do most of their work on a computer, the remote work phenomenon, especially for people with families, this creates an opportunity to rebuild family-centered economies and family-centered lives. As much as I love my coworkers, I would much rather spend most of my day around my family and my neighbors, like the people where I belong, rather than a traffic-filled commute to be with my coworkers for more of my waking hours than I spend with my children.
Yeah, but what about it's destroying downtowns? I mean, right now in Chicago, 51% occupancy. That's it. And so the Quiznos, the other stores around there that feed people at lunchtime, they closed. So what's the future of our downtown areas?
Yeah, so my prescription is really that I think very particularly white-collar and conservative organizations. I'm thinking a lot about, like, the think tanks and the places and the publications, the people that are drawing conservative talent and are making the case for rebuilding family life, that they should be the ones leading the charge about thinking, how can we make this work? But I would say to that question, like, what about the towns? What about the shops that are closing? I think we're just there. I don't people have seen the light, for better or for worse. I don't think we're going back to thriving cities. I wish I could be more sanguine about this.
Right,
I grew
but
up
it's
closer in
over.
New York, and I think it's done.
Oh, yeah, in New
and
York, you went from 5 million subway riders a day to 3 million.
Wow,
That's a lot.
that's a lot. A lot of money.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, here's my question, because I work outside of the house. My wife she's basically all in the house. I mean, both our businesses are home based.
Okay. Do you
But
share
she's
an
predominantly
office? Or do you...
well, no, we both have our own office. She's there most of the day. I have friends who work from home. How do you deal? I mean, when you think about remote learning becoming the norm, how do you deal with that
Remote
mental?
working.
Right. Mentally, how do you? I just caught what you said. How do you deal with that mental balance of being home from being out the house 10, 12 hours a day to now you're pretty much in the house 24 hours a day? How is one to
adapt to that?
adapt to that? Yeah. Good. Thank you, Amy.
Yeah, I think a lot of this is just building habits, and I think this is where it's legitimate for employers to actually look at their workforce and look at the kind of employees they have and see if this is feasible for them. Personally, you just have to make the space. You know, it takes a while to reorient from, okay, I'm not leaving my house and going to the office. What do I do? But, I mean, you need to wake up. You need to put on pants. You need to, be in a separate room and have a routine where you're transitioning yourself from home to work. I think it works. And then, again, this is a good point. You know, what do you do with yourself when all of a sudden you're not out of the house for those 8, 10, 12 hours a day? I think this really gets to the heart of where are we as a culture, right? Because I look at my own life, and it's like, listen, we have readers groups, we have church groups, we have community in our house, and we are out of our house all the time. So I don't really feel the lack, like, oh my goodness, I'm not in the office, I no longer have a community or a social life. If that's your experience, I think we have a greater problem with the state of our society and what we do to interact with people.
All right. Frank DeVito, counsel at the Napa Legal Institute. His writings have been published in the American Conservative, The Federalist, and First Things Online. Frank, thank you so much for joining us. We'll definitely have you back.
Wonderful. Thank you for having me.
Thanks.
Thank
And
you.
He joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, the millennials,